let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance today. Jen, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Mr. Powell, would you lead us in prayer, sir?
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just come to you today to thank you, Lord. We thank you for this county, and Lord, we just thank you for the country and the freedoms that we have, Lord, that you bestow upon us. As we go into our meeting, Lord, we just pray for wisdom and guidance, that we're doing what's best for this county and for these citizens, Lord. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you both. All right. Okay. We would like to open up our meeting, the Board of Scioto County Commissioners, at this time for July the 15th. And we would like to open that up by approving the minutes of July the 8th. I pray that you've reviewed those minutes, and would you like to make a motion, Mr. Powell, to approve those minutes?
I will make the motion to approve.
I will vacate the chair second.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
And the matter request for appropriation of funds.
Questions or comments in regards to the fund appropriations request? Hearing none,
Make a motion to approve.
I will second.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
And the matter request for appropriation transfer of funds.
Questions or comments in regards to item 3? Hearing none,
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
And the matter of bid award and contract approval for 2021 hot mix material paving project regarding the Scioto County Engineering Department.
We received a referral back from our county engineer, Darren LeBrun, in regards to hot mix materials paving project. The bid for 2021 hot mix materials paving project, upon recommendation of Darren LeBrun, Scioto County engineer, be awarded and contract approved to the Shelley Company at the lowest bid amount of $2,958,145.01. And work to be performed will commence immediately and will be completed on or before December 4th, 2021. Any questions or comments in regards to the recommendation sent forth by our county engineer for paving projects? Hearing none,
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
And the matter of bid award and contract approval for Scioto County 2021 County Road 41-4.00 bridge replacement project regarding the Scioto County Engineering Department.
This particular bid recommendation is, of course, again being recommended by Darren LeBrun to Skeens Excavating at the lowest bid amount of $183,000. Work to be performed will commence immediately and will be completed on or before September 30th, 2021. Are there any questions or comments in regards to number 5? Hearing none,
Make a motion to approve.
and a second.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
In the matter of change order for 2021 Scioto County Engineering Culvert Replacement Project.
Yes, hold on just a second. Change order for the following items. The question here is to whether or not we will approve additional, adding 200 tons of limestone 57s at $29 a ton for pipe bedding material for Henley Comstock Road. Additional 40 tons of type B limestone riprap at $35 per ton for outlet erosion control, which is again for Henley Comstock Road. Additional 5 working days due to deeper inlet invert elevation for the culvert at Henley Comstock. Questions or comments in regards to the change order request? Hearing none,
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
And the matter of memorandum of understanding between the Scioto County Board of Commissioners and Scioto County Engineer and the Village of South Webster.
Questions or comments in regards to number 7? Hearing none,
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
In the matter of Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections Subsidy Grant Agreement for Justice Reinvestment and Incentive Funding regarding enforcement of municipal court adult probation department.
This particular subsidy grant agreement for Justice Reinvestment and Incentive, JRIG, otherwise known as JRIG, funding between the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Division of Parole and Community Services, Bureau of Community Sanctions, and Portsmouth Municipal Court for the purpose to provide funds to common pleas, municipal and county court probation departments and community-based correctional facilities to adopt policies and practices based on the latest research on how to reduce the number of offenders on probation supervision who violate the conditions of their supervision. The amount of the grant is $70,792 to be paid in quarterly installments for the period beginning with the effective date of this agreement and ending June 30th, 2023. Any questions or comments in regards to the grant? Hearing none,
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Another memorandum of understanding and agreement between Southern County Sheriff and Southern County Prosecutor regarding Special Victims Unit investigative duties and responsibilities.
This particular MOU is a follow-up to the creation of the Special Victims Unit in our prosecutor's office. Those that follow will know that we've done that in cooperation with Prosecutor Tiemann as well as Sheriff Thurman in helping get that set up, as well as agencies all across our county in addressing human trafficking, child abuse, and other special victims cases that crop up. So there needed to be an MOU as far as how employees are shared with the Special Victims Unit. This particular MOU addresses the use of and the sharing of Sergeant Jody Conkle in regards to her serving on the Special Victims Unit as an investigator. She will be remaining an employee of the Sauter County Sheriff's Office. She is in charge of the Detective Division unless otherwise assigned by the Sheriff. And it lists a slew of things as far as salary, benefits, things like that, and how that is shared. Those costs are shared. There's hours set, not set, things like that. Flexibility is discussed as part of the MOU. And I will say this, that Sergeant Conkle is a valued asset, and her work as well as others on the SVU has already been very beneficial. So we're excited to see what more is going to happen, but this is just putting things in writing to solidify the relationship and exactly how employees are utilized, their services are utilized between departments. So with that said, are there any questions or comments in regards to the agreement between the two departments?
I would just commend the Sheriff's Department and the Prosecutor's Office in this agreement. Clearly there was a gap, of service, and to have somebody dedicated to the Special Victims Unit in this manner, right? It clearly needed in our community, so I commend both of them for this memorandum of understanding.
I think it's it was a great investment. It
Absolutely.
was time.
Yeah.
And really, this was something that was born out of course, many know the situations we've had with Children's Services, some of the deaths we had as a result of children being abused by parents and grandparents. So it is, with that, this unit is very needed, very necessary. And they will are and will be investigating really all kinds of abuse. There's elder abuse. There's all kinds of things, and these are deemed as being special victims. And they have their own office. We funded that as far as space and salaries and investigator and prosecutor, assistant prosecutor dedicated to special victims. So there's a lot of office staff. That's another one. So we've done that, investing in the people of our county, utilizing the taxpayers' money to hopefully fill a need that we will be able to get ahead of this instead of reacting to it so much. It'll be good to be able to investigate and try to stop abuse in its tracks. So that's what we're trying to do. So with that, are there any questions or comments beyond what have already been said?
I will make a motion to approve.
Okay. I'll second.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye. I'm not used to seconding.
Uh,
In the matter of memorandum of understanding agreement between Sauter County Board of Commissioners and the Sauter County Board of Health Department of maintaining refrigeration and freezer units in courthouse.
This will probably be the shortest MOU ever in the history of Sauter County. But we did receive an MOU from the Board of Health asking us to sign on and maintain the refrigeration and the freezer units that are currently kept in the courthouse for vaccines, which is fine. We are moving the health department. We have moved the bulk of the health department to the new annex offices. We've talked about it in our meetings prior to this, how through the CARES Act, we have funded them moving to Suite D in the basement of the annex. They are now 3 times the size they were, very clinical in nature, preparing for the next health emergency in our county. Let's hope that's no time in the future. But they will be able to react better to the services that are required by our citizens, which range from the typical vaccines that everybody takes, as well as other health needs. So it's going to be much more efficient. It'll be a more clinical, as I said, a more clinical setting for examinations, things like that, for their nurses to be able to do that kind of work. So as part of that, we have had a generator on order since December of 2020. That generator came in a couple weeks ago, finally. Every bit of that was a delay caused by parts from China, and but it is now in. They are installing everything as we speak. So hopefully we'll be able to move the refrigeration and the freezer units early next week. So as I said, this will be the shortest lived MOU maybe in the history of the county, but more than happy to sign it and give some peace of mind to the health commissioner. So with that, is there any questions or comments in regards to?
I will make the motion to approve.
I will second item 10.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
In the matter of accepting miscellaneous reports,
Questions or comments in regards to the miscellaneous reports received? Hearing none.
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
In the matter of accepting the amended certificate from the Budget Commission,
Questions or comments in regards to the amended certificate? Hearing none.
I will make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
In the matter of resolution regarding the expenditure of coronavirus relief funds for the Sauter County Veteran Service Commission regarding the wheelchair accessible van.
On this particular item, we were contacted by the Veteran Service Commission on the need for a new wheelchair accessible van. And we are pleased to be able to help them with that and facilitate that. We are going to use some of the remaining CARES Act dollars that we have in our disposal to do that, so that they can transfer veterans that may have or are suspected of having COVID. So we're going to do that, and the cost of that is,
45,000,
yes, 45 and change.
908.
45,908, thank you. And that is a converted van that will have the wheelchair lift and all of that. And we did one similar to this for DD. So this will be a nice addition to their fleet, and we were glad to be able to help the veterans with that. So with that, can we get a motion to approve?
It's a motion to adopt.
I'm sorry, it is,
Yes.
yes. Uh-huh.
I will
Okay.
make the motion to adopt.
I will second.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
In the matter of reappointment
Are there any questions or comments in regards to item 15? Hold on just a second. Okay. The names of the reappointments are Barb Setzer, Gary Albrecht, Louise Austin, Richard Grimm, and Ann Sidner. Those terms will be ending May 1st, 2022. Questions or comments? Hearing none.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
In the matter of approving payment of regular scheduled accounts, I skipped one. In the matter of appointment to the Southern County Board of Developmental Disabilities,
This particular board appointment would be to fill the unexpired term of Bill Rockwell Jr. Term ending would be December 31st, 2022. The name of the person to fill the board appointment is Cindy Murray of Willersburg. Are there any questions or comments in regards to that?
Just that, I've had several people reach out on Cindy's behalf. Her experience and her lived experience raising her children, I think will make her a valuable asset to this board. So I'm glad to see her interest, and I think she'll do good work there.
I think so as well. Ditto.
Ditto? Okay.
Ditto, yeah. So, yeah, very, very good appointment. I think she will do a wonderful job. With that said, can we get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
In the matter of approving payment of the regular scheduled accounts for the various funds, moral obligations, and the then announced certificates in the total amount of $326,002.07.
Questions or comments in regards to the morals? Hearing none.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
In the matter of agreement between the Sauter County Sheriff and the Sauter County Board of Commissioners and the County and City of Lawrence County, Ohio.
On item 17, we received a request to sign a contract with Lawrence County. Per day, the cost $65 per day per prisoner as compensation for receiving, supervising, confining, and boarding Lawrence County and city prisoners. Question, did you read anything in that as far as female prisoners?
I didn't.
So is this only male?
It just said prisoners, it's no defining gender.
Because I know that's typically at a separate rate.
It
Yes.
sounds like it's just male, the way I was reading it, that's what it sounds like to me. But it did not specify, it did not break down, and it normally always does, so
Yeah.
if they're not, then there needs to be.
Until we get that clarification, should we accept the contract and then revisit it for an approval?
I would like to. It hit me on the way over as I was walking. I thought, wait a minute, there's usually a stipulation, because usually women are $10 more, and this doesn't specify gender, and I think we probably ought to have that.
Yeah, we can accept it, and then.
Now, I know Lawrence County's already signed this. I saw that. But when it comes to, if it isn't specified,
Yeah.
then it's assumed that it's not.
And
And
for the public's benefit, when you're looking at it, price per day and bed availability, that typically it's harder to place a female
Yes.
inmate, which is why you see a higher rate
Yeah.
associated with their boarding.
I'm really happy to see the effort going on. This is one of the things that we had talked with Sheriff Thurman on whenever he came into office, that we would like to see, if available, beds being available. And it looks to me like the contract is open-ended as far as quantity, which I like that, because that gives flexibility when his jail population is down, to be able to help more with other counties. And it's totally up to his discretion, which I really like the way it's written. I'm a little concerned about the gender-specific nature or lack thereof of the contract. So I think we might want to get clarification on that. I wouldn't, if we could just get an addendum,
We'd have to,
Okay, get an addendum, because this has already been signed by Lawrence County. If we just get an addendum and get that handled, that would be great, but, yeah, accept,
Make a
if it'd
motion
be
to
okay with
accept.
you.
That's
I'll,
fine
I'll
with me.
second the motion to accept until we can get clarification, but kudos to the sheriff for moving forward on, housing, and, hey, look, he's creating revenue, and that helps the county.
And we
So,
appreciate that.
Oh, yeah,
We appreciate that.
absolutely, yeah. Well, it helps fund the jail operations
Right.
here, so. The people of Sauter County, taxpayers invested in a jail facility large enough to be able to do that. And really, it takes a group effort to be able to have available bed space. The judges are doing a great job working, to, try to keep the, recidivism down as much as possible, but also to get people help, especially with drug-related offenses. So there's a lot of effort going on a lot of fronts to try to keep our jail population down as much as possible. At the same time, Lawrence County has a terrible problem with jail population as far as space. And then, of course, other counties have the same issue. So appreciate what's being done, but let's get clarification. Okay, all right.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
And the matter of agreement between the Utility Pipeline Ltd. and Scioto County to establish natural gas service at 138 Barclay Road, Medford, Ohio.
Okay, on this particular one, the day is here. The day is here. We have been talking for a long time in regards to the infrastructure out at the SOAR Business Park. And one of the big issues we had was the lack of natural gas to the site. We have solved that problem, and we are being asked to agree to a down payment on the actual project itself. My understanding is what they are agreeing to do, and this is Utility Pipeline Company. They're actually located in Canton. They bought Pike Gas. So the infrastructure we're talking about is actually from Pike, but it's the name of the company is Utility Pipeline, who came to us with an offer, and they are going to be able to bring natural gas at ample supply to the site, which is something we haven't been able to get for several years now. And in our negotiations, they will be able to do that. They are going to build out the infrastructure within the park as well to reach all of the facilities or the proposed facilities in the park, most importantly, the ones that we're building now. And but they are going to be able to do the entire park, which will bring substantial infrastructure to the Medford area of our county, and also the capability of expanding beyond that for the Medford area. So with that, the down payment on that is $308,565, and that would be our investment in the project to date. And their investment total, well, the total investment is right around $2.8 million. We're not paying that $2.8 million. Our greatest amount we will have to pay is $608,000. So we're going to get $2.8 million for the infrastructure for $608,000.
Yeah.
So the benefits far outweigh the cost, and this is something we've been working on for a long time. This gets us one more step closer to a certified park, capabilities to be a certified park in this part of the state, and this is big news for our area. Those that follow economic development, understand economic development, will see this as a very positive development for our area. So with that said, Commissioner Powell, what say you?
So this is just another exciting chapter, paragraph,
Yeah.
verse in the economic development we're seeing out at SOAR. Ever since we've announced the spec building, it seems like the dominoes have been falling in the right direction, and the interest out there has been very positive, overwhelming at times. But to see infrastructure reach out to us and say, hey, we'd like to be involved in the project is astounding. So, and then the investment that we're seeing, correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner Davis, but years ago, 3 or so years ago, it was, hey, you guys pay the $2+ million and we'll run the lines. Now we have a company saying, hey, we'll foot most of the bill, help us pay for the materials. So it's a big win. It's a big win for the county. It's a big win for economic development. And once again, it's giving us a product to sell. It's not a field out there. Look, we have sites available with infrastructure ready, and it will only help the future of that location. So very exciting.
There's going to be a lot of activity starting up here real soon out at SOAR in the next several weeks. I know Robert said probably 2 to 3 to start turning dirt for the spec building, 45,000 square foot spec building that'll be built. We are buttoning up the first project out there, which is different from the spec building. First project, so we'll be hearing more about that here real soon. So there's a lot happening, and it's all running parallel courses. So it's pretty exciting to see. Definitely, you know, if you build it, they will come was kind of well, it really was. It was a hope. It was also a very good educated guess that we needed product. We needed to be able to show people that we were investing in ourselves, and that we were seriously interested in economic development. And this is planting that flag. So we're seeing good things happen. This runs synonymous. It just runs so well with what we're doing down in the Haverhill corridor, Franklin Furnace corridor, with the infrastructure that's going in down there, sewer infrastructure that's going to be built out for Pure Cycle down in Haverhill. You know, that right there in and of itself is over $3 million in infrastructure just in that area. So this all runs in tandem. It's a development arc, you know, that we're building here, development arch, whatever you want to call it. But we're getting it done surely, slowly but surely, and we are literally seeing great strides being made with our partners. You know, Jobs Ohio, Ohio Southeast, JEDISO, so many entities that are coming in and working with us. And here we have Utility Pipeline stepping up to the plate and ready to knock it out of the park. And this is going to be, or is that knock it into the park? I don't know.
Build it.
They're building it, so it's going to be great. It's going to be great. But we are excited, and with growth comes challenges, and we have our share of those. We you know, to get everybody on board and to make sure that everybody's comfortable with what we're doing. We're having a lot of meetings with different entities in the area to make sure that everybody's on board with what we're doing, and making sure that everything's you know, getting done satisfactorily. So this is a big step. It really is. This is huge, and this was one of the missing pieces that we had to satisfy, and here we are. So kudos to Robert Horton, our Economic Development Director, Mark Ward, and you know, just Marcy, you know, over there doing their job, doing a wonderful job getting things done, and here it is, and yeah, let's get it done. So with that,
Gladly make the motion to approve.
I will gladly second.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye. Okay, all right, Mr. Powell, what else do you have in addition to?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, all righty. Questions from the press on items on the agenda?
No questions.
No questions. Did we do that good of a job explaining it?
Such a good job.
We've lost our press. Okay.
If there's any press out there, we invite you. We're open meetings.
Yeah, we are.
Well, please come hang out with us. There's a
Or
lot
ask
of,
questions online. We're more than happy to
there's a lot of good
answer
things happening.
items not on the agenda. Okay, all right. We have, is it Aldine? Aldine? All or Al? Aldine Gaspers with us today. She is a resident of Green Township. She's been with us before, and we want to welcome you to our meeting. It's always good when we have somebody from the public come and see us. As you can see, the press isn't, so but we are more than happy to ask any questions you might have.
I do.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. And you basically segued a little bit
She's got a microphone for you.
There you go.
Thank you.
You basically segued when you were speaking about, the development and the Habitat corridor in Franklin Furnace. Let me just preface my presence. I am a candidate for township trustee in the election November 2nd. I am not here representing the township or the township trustees. I am, however, speaking for the citizenry that I have, been meeting with during my petition, candidacy solicitation, and even in 2019, when I ran at that time, there were specific questions that came up. Obviously, the school board has been moving forward with they actually took down the old school, which leaves a vacant spot of land, and they're moving forward with, the building of the new school. 2020, brought some setbacks, and, obviously the cost of lumber, the cost of, poly products have gone up, and the availability, you were waiting for your generator to come, and that, brings with it the challenges. When they have to go back to the controlling board, and asking for an increase of monies because the prices have gone up in a substantial manner, then that does delay things. They are doing a really good job of keeping the citizenry informed, and of course, keeping the parents of, children as we come into football season. We're going to be sharing, I understand, with Wheelersburg that space, to keep the football program going. So that is really a good, transparency. It's really a good method, that they're utilizing to communicate. However, we need to do a better job at the trustee level in order to be transparent and to listen to what the constituents have to say, and to bring, to the table and at least address in our minutes and make them available what's going on. The questions that I've had posed to me is you have folks working at, the companies, Altivia and, the whole company, and, they see the soil samples are being done, and they see that markers are being placed, the pipes, are running down there. And as you go towards Lawrence County, there's a lot of economic development through the Lawrence County Economic Development. We kind of sit in the middle of all this, and not that we've been overlooked, not that we've been, underappreciated, but I don't think we've been a voice at the table. And I think it's time for us to, look at what development is going on, look at the opportunities and the monies that are coming from various sources, either through grants or through, the Recovery Act, the CARES Act, any improvements, and to be able to communicate that. I guess what I would ask of you is, is there a 2-year, 3-year, 5-year plan that does involve the general Franklin Furnace area? And if so, is it possible for me to get additional information?
Sure.
We would love to have a park. We would love to be able to, to have families come in and invest in our area and want to be able to invest their dollars into improving their homes and increasing that value. I mean, if you look back into the early 2000s when the chemical company came in, and we got a traffic light right there in front of Green School. They also had an abatement. They also had that tax break that the dollars did not come into our area. The other concern that I heard loud and clear all over was that, of course, they brought in workers from other states. Yes, they did invest in staying in the hotels in the area and buying their gasoline in the area and maybe getting their sandwiches and their lunches in the area, but then they took off and left. What we would like to see in the future for Pure Supple and other places is for people to say, this is a really great community. There's a park here. There's things for our kids to do. These people really seem to care by beautifying and by having a recycling project and a program that is valid and tells the future, the children of our community, that really you matter and we want to invest in you. So, and those people who come and see our community, we'd like them to settle down there. We'd like them to buy homes. We'd like them to think about investing in a little business and bringing revenue back into our area. So I guess what I would ask is if there is anything on the docket, on the agenda coming up that significantly could benefit us, a consideration for some funding to be moved our direction for something, at least a first phase, that would be wonderful to be able to show the people. That gives people hope. I have worked I just recently retired. July the 1st, I worked for the state of Ohio in the Department of Corrections for about 33 years. Most recently, I worked 6 years at Star Community Justice, which was the former Ohio River Valley Juvenile Correctional Facility. I was the superintendent there for a number of years. We invested back into the community through community work service as Star does. And I'm not speaking for Star, but I am a cheerleader for Star. They do a lot of good things and they give back to our community. I'm sure that they would love the opportunity to do more and to have more projects and resources for beautification. The bigger and larger piece, in my opinion, is that culture of learned helplessness that seems to be pervasive in our area. And when I say that, we're the last school to get remodeled. There are books in that school. The technology in that school for a number of years, was so lagging. And that message that it sent to our young people was, how much do you matter? Why should I look at applying for grants? Why should I look at something different? And if I want to better myself, I've got to move away. We would like them to get their education in the great institutions we have all around us. And we would like them to come back home and be the pharmacists and be the managers and the developers and the scientists at Pure Cycle. But again, we really have to send that message that says you're important, you're valued, and our community values you. And when you look around, you see that the representation of that. So with that, I'll put my soapbox away, but again, let me pivot. If there is anything that there could be some consideration with the funding, hey, we've got an extra 50,000, an extra 100,000, 20,000, 10, 5, that we could start something or start to build on something with all of this development going on, please, please, please consider us and communicate, contact the present township trustees and any future township trustees after November the 2nd. And I assure you that I will be a presence here at these meetings. Should I be elected, I feel like that I would have a reason, to not speak on behalf of them. But you've always been very informative, and I thank you for introducing yourself when you came in. And that's really all I have.
All right. Thank you very much, Aldine. I appreciate that. To address just a couple of things that you said,
Please.
Are there recycle bins in Franklin Furnace?
We have a recycle area at the fire station.
Fire
right,
station,
community
okay.
building, yes.
Okay.
There is no recycling program as in that
Residential.
Our residents, a lot of them, I see the Rumpke and the Elkins, out there. There may be a provision for recycling bins and certain recycling collection days. We definitely would like to see more of that offered to our citizenry and as a community. A couple of times a year, the township does a community cleanup where there's a couple of big dumpsters, and we also partnered on looking at tire recycling.
Yeah.
And that's a really big issue.
We, with the solid waste district,
Yes.
Lawrence, Sauter County Solid Waste District, which we have gone through a period of transition. We have a new director. He is, the only way I can describe it is he's on fire. I mean, he is just everywhere. And Rick Jansen is his name. He's doing a great job. A little overwhelmed right now because of what he sees as the need. And I can tell you that Green Township is a major target of his. He's spent a lot of time in Green, as well as all of them. I mean, he really has. But one of the things we have challenged the district and even our planners, when we do a solid waste plan for the district, is the question has been asked, what would it look like to fund curbside recycling? The current grants that we get from the EPA and the parcel fees that we currently get from both counties, because remember, we both pay into that, are not sufficient to pay for a curbside recycling because of the rural nature of our area. It makes sense for certain areas, but not for everybody, because, I mean, there's such a spread out, nature of our area. So we're looking at that because I would love to have that. I think that would be great. I think all of us agree. It's trying to make it practical. So we're looking into that. Infrastructure-wise, I would recommend highly that you meet with Robert Horton, our Economic Development Director. when the meeting's over, we can get you his contact information. He has spent a lot of time in Green Township, okay? The ARC grant that we got to help us, I'm sorry, take that back. The Jobs Ohio grant that we got for the infrastructure for the new sewer, that's going to be going the entire length from Willersburg, the new line, all the way to Haverhill for Pure Cycle. He worked diligently with J.P. Bickelsheimer, our sanitary engineer, as well as others, to get that infrastructure put in. What that will do is it basically doubles our capacity to the Willersburg plant and opens that entire corridor up to more development. There are a lot of things going on at the Norfolk and Southern site. The due diligence, the property purchases from Virginia Holdings, which is Norfolk and Southern, they are in full swing. And there's a reason, okay? So you might want to talk to the man about all the things that are happening at the Norfolk and Southern site. Preparation, yes. Okay, he's very well versed in everything that's happening, and there is a lot of effort right now being done to prepare that corridor for more development. The Norfolk and Southern site, being privately held, was always a issue, because when you start talking about due diligence, such as archaeological studies, environmental studies, things like that, a lot of companies won't even look at a site unless all these things are already done, because you don't want to wait for it. That's been done now. That's been paid for, which is a huge investment. So what we're seeing here is the state of Ohio is investing, we're investing, because it is really the pristine site, the Greenfield site, anywhere in the state of Ohio. It is number one. So we have rail, we have ample gas, we have a river, we have really everything that you need. Electric, my goodness, there's a giant electric line because there everything we need. The sewer was really one of the drawbacks. Water is still an issue, but we're dealing with that. There is a pump station project on 522 that we're going to be increasing water flows to the Franklin Furnace area to secure the jobs at Pepsi and SunCoke and Pure Cycle. But there's even more water demand. We've got even more and bigger issues that we're working with the city of Portsmouth on. But there's a lot of development going on. We're talking multi-million-dollar investment projects that are happening. Talk with Robert. He'll give you a really good picture of what's happening in the township, and that would be my recommendation there. CDBG, depending on the LMI, which is the low to middle income rates in Green Township, and I don't have it in front of me. I'm sure there's probably areas that wouldn't qualify for CDBG funding, but there are areas that would. I know that there would be. So a lot of that would take like street specific studies, income studies, things like that. These are things that township trustees can do to try to get funding for certain projects that free up money for other projects, if you know what I mean. And these are things that can happen. So we help facilitate that. Our office can help facilitate the CDBG. There are a lot of things that can be brought to bear. Robert's another one good to talk to on that. CDBG, we're not the only ones that can do that. He can do that. So there's a lot of collaboration that can be had at that level. STAR is great. We utilize the inmates there now for trash pickup with the solid waste district. And another thing that STAR really isn't talked about much is the facilitation that some local companies utilize them for projects, for kitting and things like that, putting things together. I know that happens, that there's local companies that actually utilize and the inmates for residents, I think they call them, to do those things. So it's there's a lot of benefit having the Community Justice Center there, and I appreciate the comment about reaching out, because we've heard that. They've said that to us, and just looking for those programs where we can cooperate and do positive things for the community. That's a good thing. The school district, how long ago was it we went up there?
Couple months.
A couple months ago, we were up there talking with them on some potential projects, on how we could work together. And there's definitely, I did not realize how much property they actually own outside of the current school across the street, you know, that they're actually looking to sell. I don't know what they're planning to do with the old school site, but you mentioned a park is needed. It's a pretty good location right next to ball fields, you know, but just, you know, throwing that out. But yeah, those are kind of things that CDBG funds can help fund. There's other grants that can do that as well.
A question on that matter, if you don't mind, and thank you for directing me to Mr. Horton.
Yes.
I look forward to that. I was provided a number of contact. Has Green Township been actively involved in seeking CDBG funding or grants or involved in that arena?
Not through our office.
Okay.
Now, if then maybe they're utilizing another avenue,
Okay.
and there are other avenues to do it. So, but I can't say through our office that I recall anything.
And then one final question, if
Mhm.
you don't mind, and I appreciate your being thorough about your responses. Thank you. The clover leaf that was once talked about, this
Oh,
was
yeah.
several years back, is that off the table? You talked about accessibility, Virginia Holding, and yes, they've been buying up a lot of land, they've been buying up a lot of area. There has been talk that they're looking at shutting down one of the access roads, and I don't know if it would be permanently or temporarily, but I think that has sparked a lot of talk about revisiting that clover leaf, and it's never been brought to the citizenry's attention as to whether it's off the table or there's been a different variation of that.
I haven't heard anything. Are you talking about the Ohio Furnace Powellsville Road,
Yes,
where there is no access now?
correct.
I have not heard anything. That would be a greater question for our county engineer,
Okay.
Darren LeBrun. I've always been a fan of that. I think it would open up Franklin Furnace more. I know there's an exit now, but it's not a good exit. Matter of fact, I cannot stand that exit because, especially if you're coming off the Green Up Dam Bridge and you're coming in and then you're trying to get into the right or the left lane immediately to exit. To me, that's not very safe. So that was designed a long time ago, and they've maintained that. The other exit, to me, has always seemed like the more safe option. Plus, as you said, access into the industrial corridor is huge. We tried to help that some as far as industrial traffic with and for lack of a better word, we beefed up Haverhill Road on next to Altivia. And we did that to actually help facilitate Altivia purchasing Haverhill Chemicals, not to lose the jobs. That was one of the things that they came to us and said, that road needs fixed. And in order for us to commit to do this, we need Sauter County to step up, and we did. We stepped up, and matter of fact, we moved a lot of money really quick to make that happen and save those jobs. So, and that was a collaboration between the Port Authority, the county engineer at the time, you know, that was ARC, ODOT, everybody was involved in that project. But that in and of itself is not enough because that crosses railroad tracks.
Right.
And we really need the overpass. We need the access to that road. I have not heard anything about that unless you have, Scott. It has been years since I've heard anything. And I think what it is they're looking for the demand. I think if we knew there was a project going in
Like your cycle?
well, okay. That would be, yes. And the first phase of Pure Cycle, I don't know if it's enough. But Pure Cycle, they have big plans, huge plans, way beyond the first phase. And as it grows, that demand is going to increase. But really what I'm thinking of more is plans for the Norfolk and Southern side. There has been some big projects look at that area lately. And could possibly cohabitation projects that actually draw off Suncoke. You know, Suncoke, Altivia creates a ton of steam. And you would think Suncoke could be that, but Suncoke actually uses Altivia steam. It goes the other way. So, but Altivia creates all this steam, and if you could, if they can sell that to another company and actually attract that other company, or that other company utilize metallurgical coke, these are the kind of things we're trying to attract. And of course, in Norfolk and Southern's position is someone who uses rail and uses it heavy. So that's what's happening there. And I can tell you that car traffic, truck traffic drives that kind of development. And it's something we would push for heavily if we knew something was coming. We've talked about in the past, I've been here 7 years, and I know we've talked about it in the past, but it's always come down to, well, why do you need it? Because they're always reactionary, never proactive on roads. It is always, they will respond to the demand instead of being proactive and getting ahead of the demand. And it's only because of the limitation of dollars, availability of dollars. It's always about that. So it's an ODOT issue. It's one that we got to work with ODOT on. The county engineer is a little involved because of the county road that goes over. He would be, well, not a little, he'd be a lot involved, but it's creating the demand in order for us to be able to solicit and really push for the change. And I agree with it 100%, and he's done. I'd love for it, trust me. I'd love for that. If you're in the middle of Franklin Furnace and you want to get over to 52, you got to go all the way. Yeah, I mean, it's both ways. Where if there was an in-between, it'd be great, so.
Thank you. It's refreshing to hear you speak like you live in our community. You know the ins and the outs.
Been there a lot.
And that to me tells me that, there is a wholehearted interest, not just because we are so far, in one direction, and sometimes I can't speak for everyone, but we feel a little forgotten. I will pass on not only your comments, but the responses to the questions to individuals that have asked these, and I thank you so very much.
Hey, there's some positive things happening down there. I appreciate your words. There's a new implement company coming to Green Township over there off, the road there, and rumor has it Big Sandy's going to be expanding. That's big. I've been catfishing up there with the new fishing place. Yeah,
Did you catch
hey,
any
come
of
on.
that? Did you catch any?
No, but that's another story. That's
You've been cat
another issue.
sitting, basically.
But yeah, cat sitting, exactly. It was raining. It was a bad day.
Okay.
Anyways,
Sure.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, but there's some new businesses popping up, down in Franklin Furnace and Haverhill area, and that's what we want. But well, I could go on and on. There's some actually really cool stuff happening down there. But I live, well, you live in that side of the county now, and yeah, I get down there, Giovanni's and
The horse park is having farmers markets, they
Yeah.
get lease to Miss Hall.
yeah,
There's a gentleman off of between Landmill Lane and the dam that is building, looks like camper sites. I'm supposed to get a meeting with him, but he is having a camper park there, which is waterfront property.
Yeah.
Obviously his concerns would be, as those who live on Landmill Lane, would be Farmers Lane, where everyone walks, not only lighting, but safety, security, and potholes that could possibly swallow up a small Volkswagen. But that's something, to look to the future with. But there are areas, I should say, that are starting to have pockets of improvements.
of development, yeah.
Yeah, and development.
Well, the former Shelley gravel pit
Yes.
is now all developed, and cabins and fishing, and when you're attracting businesses, lifestyles, and it's not the most important, but it is important. So, all right, I know we got to move along. I can always look at our clerk, and when she's smiling at me big, it usually means that Bill Aug is in the house. Yeah, okay, all right, so we better get to our, and I thank you so much for coming. Our Investment Advisory Board report. Our treasurer, Bill Aug, is with us today.
Thank you, sir.
We have been holding him up. Sorry about that, sir. And then we have a public hearing here now.
Here, yeah.
Now. So,
And just
Aldine,
brief,
thank you.
Really brief, things are going well. Our midpoint income is 75,000. which is 73,000 last year at the same time.
Mhm.
The April to June quarter that we just finished was 29,377. No real signs of interest rates rising in the future, so all of our investments are FDIC insured. All with us and the Treasurer of State Star account. We have money there as well. Our committee's goal has always been the preservation of principal, and that's what we're doing, and we're fully insured. And someday rates will come back up. Our average yield right now is 0.999. But it used to be 0.05.
Right, right.
So,
Yeah.
there is hope, and we've weathered long storms before, and we will again.
I saw on the Fed is taking kind of a long-term approach on this thing, and they're talking maybe 2023 before they change, or
I'm
inflation is a concern, I think, on everybody's mind right now, so
not really sure what it's
don't
going to do.
know.
I
Hopefully,
think we're going to have inflation, what that effect.
How much? Yeah.
yeah. Well, we've printed a lot of money. We have printed a lot of money, and unfortunately, at some point, we got to pay the piper. So, all right. Yes, it.
I'd like a motion to accept legislative report from the Southern County Treasurer for the Investment Advisory Committee.
I will make a motion to accept the report.
I will second.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye. Thank you, Mr. Auld.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
it. County's money is safe, and
Save the county.
we continue to grow our reserves. Everything's good.
$1 million a day. Last week.
Good deal.
$1 million a day.
It's tax collection time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Now we have a public hearing.
okay. Aldine, do you have a question about our tax budget?
No, but thank you for. I've done the research on that one. So, thank you, and I
Oh.
appreciate your time. I'll let you into your.
Anybody online?
Nobody wants to talk to us.
Nobody wants to talk to us. Did we offend somebody?
You might have. I don't know if I did.
You might have. I don't know.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
so much.
It was delightful. I
Thanks for
appreciate
coming.
Very nice to see you again.
it. I will be back.
All righty.
I will be back.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Mr. Portman, just to contact casualty.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
We'll
Yeah.
speak for him, sure. Yeah, reach out to him.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so our public hearing is open for the tax budget for year 2022. Two copies of the tax budget as tentatively adopted for the Sauter County, Ohio for review. So, for year 2022 are on file for public inspection in the office of Sauter County Auditor in 103 in the courthouse. And we are now here for the public hearing for public's input. Hearing none.
You live in Sauter County, Amanda. Do you have any questions about our tax budget?
Nothing.
I don't.
I don't know.
Well, I can tell you just for general information, our general fund budget is $18,117,350. So, and total various funds, which is usually grant money, with all our various offices, that one is $54,510,062.66, giving us total of $72,627,412.66. That's what we're working on.
We are ahead on collections this year. As far as our permissive sales tax is strong. Shows a resilience of our economy. We don't anticipate that dropping off right now, but if it would, we are well positioned to handle any fluctuations in our revenues. And in talking with our treasurer, who was just here, things are remaining healthy. And let's just pray and hope that we don't have a fluctuation. We've gone through two major test of our cash position in the last 3 years. Those that watch and understand with the MCO, that was, and we did take a hit. We took a hit of $2.1 million on our MCO, but we had reserves, but at the same time, we tightened our belts. Our office holders and managers, everybody really came together and tried to hold the status quo as much as we could. And we weathered that storm, and now we are completely 100%. We have reclaimed all of that. It took us almost 3 years to do it, but we did it with the help of our economy, withstanding what could have been a disastrous shutdown from COVID. And so no time to rest on our laurels, though. We never know what the next thing may be. We wouldn't have ever have predicted a pandemic. It was low on our threat assessment. Matter of fact, it was the lowest thing on our EMA threat assessment when that came, because of the fact that we hadn't dealt with a pandemic of that nature in 100 years. So, weather, windstorms, tornadoes, flooding was way, way, way high up. So I think pandemic was like 15th or 16th on the list. So we've weathered it, and we have to prepare for the future, what may be the next thing. But hey, we're doing okay, and with God's help and wisdom and knowledge, we're doing okay. We gotta stay prudent, and we have to be good stewards of the people's money. So, all right. Anything else?
You just need to
Motion to-
adopt the resolution.
I will make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
As a matter of public record, we can't hold a public hearing, so the public hearing is now closed with additional comments. Can we get a motion to close
Okay.
the hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
I will second that.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Now, for the further, we can adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And I will gladly second that. Thank you, everyone, for those.
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye. Thank you, those for watching. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the weather. Any major things going on this weekend?
Not that I can think of.
I don't know. Yeah,
A ton of farmers markets out there. Get out and support your local farmers.
that's right. Saturdays, Tuesdays, Saturdays on the Esplanade.
Sounds like there's one in Green Township as well.
Tuesdays, yes, absolutely. Tuesdays at the Market Street.
Yep.
Make sure you get to that. And then also, the farmer's market at the Ohio Horse Park in Green Township. So get out, enjoy the weather, enjoy your time with family, and get outside of county, get outside, go do something. So, all righty. God bless.